What's up, everybody? John Henry, both sides of the conversation. Today, we are at the Commonwealth Club for our Dreaming Forward event with the Dreamkeeper Initiative. It is a phenomenal event. We're talking about Black joy, Black excellence, and most of all, Black power in this city. It's going to be a great event today. Some phenomenal speakers. Make sure y'all come out and check out what's going on. Got some amazing vendors, amazing people from the city out here to learn about what's going on with Dreamkeeper and how we keep the dream moving forward. And y'all know both sides of the conversation. We about keeping that dream going. You can see it's on the way. Vendors is getting set up. We step into the Commonwealth Club. Great event. Come get ready. It's a showcase. All the amazing work that's going on in San Francisco. Some of the amazing Dreamkeeper grantees. And we are excited to be here, to be a part of it. Both sides of the conversation. It's all about lifting up our people, lifting up the communities. And this is what the Dreamkeeper represents, the impact of our community. And just seeing the vendors and people here that's doing the work. So come check out some of the folks that's in here. I'm trying to figure it out.
Good morning, my name is Dr. Saida Leatatufu Birch, or Dr. Sai, and I'm excited that we are here at our second annual Dreamkeeper Initiative celebration and call to action, Dreaming Forward, a celebration of Black joy, power, and excellence. We're here at the beautiful Commonwealth Club on the Embarcadero in San Francisco to celebrate Black joy and Black excellence.
Pain and struggle and a lot of injustice. Our culture is beyond beautiful. Our culture is otherworldly. And when you're creating a new culture, shit's gonna get funky. And it's not gonna be perfect, but damn it, I'm trying.
So we're here today at the Dreamkeeper Forum, Dreaming Forward, and really just celebrating the Dreamkeeper Initiative, all the work that has gone into, one, making it happen, but most certainly talking about the outcomes. But really also talking about the anti-Blackness and the fight against us, continuing to be collective and continue to move the needle forward for Black folks. A lot of people out here against all the stuff we've been working on, and so it's important to highlight the great work of the Dreamkeeper Initiative, the great work that all of our organizations are doing, the great work our communities are doing, and most importantly, the great work Black people are doing right here in San Francisco. So excited to this morning's panel, excited to learn more about the great work of Dreamkeeper Initiative, and we're going to continue to fight for better outcomes for Black folks right here in San Francisco. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Garcia. I am with the Human Rights Commission Dreamkeeper Initiative team, and today we're celebrating our second year of Dreamkeeper Initiative funding, and today is our Dreaming Forward event. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm David Taylor with the Office of Economic and Workforce Development. Glad to be here on this wonderful morning celebrating the 2-year anniversary of Dreamkeeper Initiative. I personally have been part of the process since the beginning, working with Dr. Davis and Dr. Sai, and being able to help the community be able to be part of this process, to make some of the decision making. Look forward to today's event. I think it's going to be a wonderful celebration. Looking there and listening to Dr. April Ryan, who's coming in to speak for us, and looking to hear obviously some of the other speakers from the day. It's going to be a good day. Thank you.
Omar Butler, Workforce Development Organization, is connecting young people in San Francisco and Oakland to economic opportunity and economic mobility. Dreamkeepers is a great initiative that really is trying to level the playing field, creating opportunity, bridging gaps, and really undoing institutional and structural harm that's been done to Black communities here in San Francisco. As a native of San Francisco, really excited about the work that's been happening on entrepreneurship, homeownership, economic mobility, education, and really positioning institutions that have been homestays in the community to continue their great work. So it's exciting to be here today. Looking forward to the conversations and dialogue.
Voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun, a brand new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. You get somebody?
This is my great honor to introduce a shining light of our current generation of leadership, Dr. Saida Leatutufu Birch, the director of the Dream People.
I know I have to put on my Sunday's best for y'all. Thank you, Chair Clopton. Chair Clopton serves as the chair of the San Francisco Human Rights Commission, so thank you for that introduction and land acknowledgement. So just about a year ago, I was before y'all and I was professing that I was Black first. And I am happy to say that today I am still Black first and excited to be in this room. My name is Dr. Saida Leatutufu Birch, and I am a Black and Indigenous Samoan wife, daughter, sister, organizer, cultural orator, disruptor of anti-Black racism and systems rooted in white supremacist ideology, and advancer of Black liberation and Indigenous sovereignty. I am also blessed to serve as the director of the Dream Keeper Initiative with the San Francisco Human Rights Commission. It is with immense gratitude that I welcome you to this second annual Dream Keeper Initiative celebration and call to action, Dreaming Forward, a celebration of Black joy, power, and excellence. And I must say that Black joy, Black power, and Black excellence is present in this room today. A couple of years ago, when cities and corporations alike pledged investments to Black lives in response to our brothers and sisters losing their lives at the hands of police, Black San Francisco organized, and in response, San Francisco actually made the investment. Through the leadership of Mayor London Breed, Dr. Cheryl Davis, Supervisor Shaman Walton, community, and many more, the Dream Keeper Initiative invests $60 million a year to ensure that San Francisco's diverse Black communities can experience joy and feelings of safety, can advance economically and educationally, and are holistically healthy and thriving. Yes. The Dream Keeper Initiative is about creating an environment where Black San Franciscans can experience prosperity, liberation, and imagine a future here in the city. This work is impossible without every single person in this room, and I'd like to acknowledge and express my immense gratitude again to Mayor Breed and Director Dr. Cheryl Davis, Supervisor Walton for their courageous leadership. Thank you to community in this space and online who continues to hold us accountable every single day. There is also a team of folks that are behind the work in city government who are willing and accepting of being held accountable. So a specific thank you to the Dream Keeper team within the Human Rights Commission, Prel Gilton, Lila Vega, Josh Harrison, James Lockhart, Stephanie Garcia, Becky LaDolce, and Chidima Ohanale. Thank you. Thank you to our departmental partners, the Office of Economic and Workforce Development. I see Josh Arce, Janan, David, Jerry, all those folks in the room. The Department of Early Childhood, the Department of Children, Youth, and their Families, the Mayor's Office of Housing and Community Development, the Department of Human Resources, the Fire Department, the Arts Commission, and the Department of Public Health, and to the 80+ community organizations who implement action all year long so that we may experience collective liberation, peace, and very being are constantly under attack. I am grateful to not only know how to survive, but be intentional about thriving. I am grateful to be filled with the spirit of our ancestors to, in the words of Curtis Mayfield, keep on keeping on. I am grateful that Nat kept rebelling and Harriet kept going back. I am grateful that Mary McLeod Bethune kept teaching and Frederick kept abolishing. I am grateful that Baldwin kept writing, that Martin kept walking, that Rosa kept sitting, that Malcolm kept applying pressure, that Stokely, Huey, and Angela kept organizing, that Shirley kept bringing that folding chair, that Mahalia kept singing, and I am grateful that Black San Franciscans will keep illuminating the Black joy, Black power, Black excellence that is here, that has always been here, and that will always be here. So I am grateful for your presence today, and that you are in space, and that you will continue to dream forward. So with that, it is my honor and pleasure to introduce who I consider a mentor, who I honor and am blessed to work with, the Director of the Human Rights Commission, Dr. Cheryl Evans Davis.
Good morning. I was like, I wanted to say something, then I didn't want y'all to be like, oh, she thinks she's all that. Because I was going to say, a true sign of a genius, and I was like, oh, I don't think I'm a genius. I'm just using this as a true sign of a genius is to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. And I just want to say, although I don't think it was that smart of me to have Saida go ahead of me with that. Now I'm like starting to question the whole genius thing in the first place. I am just really grateful and beyond blessed. I will say, I told my son one time, I was like, I need him to get a good job so he can take care of me and I don't have to work anymore. And he was like, you would never stop working, right? I'm really fortunate to do things that I would do even if I was rich and didn't have to work. And I am grateful to be able to work with people like Dr. Sy and the whole Human Rights Commission team that I fully believe that even if they hit the lottery tomorrow, would still be doing the same work. And so we're here today because it really is about how do we dream forward, because even in the midst of just unbelievable trauma and hurt and harm, that folks still have the ability to hope and to dream and to believe that things can get better. And so the last year has been an amazing testament, not just to the ability to hope, but actually the power of hope and the power of the people who believe that things can get better and to invest in that. And so today we celebrate the community. Yes, give the community a round of applause. After decades of broken and failed promises, right, they still believed and hoped and then actually implemented. And so I'm grateful for right now the ability to actually introduce someone who has continued to hope and challenge and to elevate and amplify even when folks weren't ready. Now folks talk about Black Lives Matter and it's used and it's repeated all the time in a way that maybe 5 years ago folks would have, said that it was socialist propaganda, and now it's become mainstream conversation. And in the same way, I was thinking when I saw Assessor Recorder Torres, like there was a time when we would have never imagined to be able to talk about investing in Black people and actually giving money to Black folks to run and take care of themselves and trust them to be able to do that. And we're in that space and place thanks to Supervisor Walton and Mayor Breed. So I want to thank them for their commitment, their dedication. And we are not beyond or without criticism. Folks do not wake up one day and are perfect. And we accept that, right? Like there's a line in the John Legends, you know, that perfect imperfections. Like I love imperfect, right? That's what makes us all unique and special. And the minute that we all start to act the same and be the same, we've lost what is pure and beautiful. Right. So with that, I want to invite up Alicia Garza. I think the challenge for us was to have this conversation with the Black Futures Lab. The work that she is doing is taking what we know just within our hearts and anecdotally and quantifying that, right? Doing the research to document and talk about, and to also make sure that we understand the narrative of data. And I think that that is really important because we can tell stories all day long, but some folks don't hear us and don't believe us without the data to back it up. And so as we continue to do this, unfortunately, we do have to quantify our dreams. And I think that Alicia Garza has allowed us to go from where Langston Hughes charged us to hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken winged bird that cannot fly. She wants us to fly. And she knows that in order to fly, we have to have our dreams to be able to show us which way to go, but that the data actually propels us and allows us to stay in the air just like an airplane, right? So as we move forward, Saida, Dr. Sai gave you the call to action. We want to inspire, we want to give you the hope, we want to give you the belief, but we also want to give you the tools. And I believe that Alicia Garza has laid a roadmap in terms of her life, in terms of her work, but also in terms of the future that can help us be better for our communities and better for the future. So please give it up for Alicia.
My name is Alicia Garza, and I believe that Black communities deserve to be powerful in every aspect of our lives. I'm really happy to be here with y'all this morning. And I'm hoping that I can open up what is sure to be an excellent event today. First and foremost, I want to take a minute to just thank our fierce and fearless leader, Cheryl Evans Davis. Now, she's over here trying to organize everything, but I do want to just say, Cheryl, to you directly, that you are leading such important conversations. And you're creating the kind of space that has needed to be here for a very long time. I want to thank you for inviting me to be a part of this. And as somebody whose family is fourth generation San Franciscan, it really means a lot to me to be here with you today. I gotta be honest with y'all, only Cheryl could get me to come. I'm like kicking back these days. I gotta be honest. I mean, I really have stopped doing Black History Month things. For the most part. But of course, when Cheryl asks, you know, you just be like, yeah, I'm gonna come home. I miss the Bay. I live in Atlanta now. I'm one of the people who had to go because I just can't pay $4,000 a month to live here, my home. I don't miss these rents, but I miss the Bay. I don't miss looking for us and having to search for where we are. I remember when it wasn't so hard to find us. I remember when our stamp was as visible as we were on this city. Today, where jazz clubs once stood, where my grandfather played music, lies a plaque that tourists step on to get to the beer garden. The house my grandfather and my uncle and my cousins grew up in, the house where we would go for Super Bowl Sunday. I wasn't into football, but I was into them oxtails. That house just got sold for several $1 million. And it's stale and whitewashed now. My critics would say, nothing remains the same. And I retort the same that I always do, that that's not the point.
Good morning and happy Black History Month to everyone. My name is Jermaine King. I work with the Phoenix Project of San Francisco. We're an organization that works with 18 to 24-year-olds focused around trauma-informed care, helping them navigate the system, navigate their life, to come up with life maps to help them get their lives better so they can be successful and succeed in life. So happy to be here for this beautiful celebration to celebrate Black History, joy, and the future of our young people. And we want to keep pressing it forward to make sure that everybody has an equal opportunity to live their life in a positive and beautiful way. And my whole thing is like this. As long as you live in your life without hurting yourself or somebody else, you should be free to live your life how you want to. And we want people to be able to be in positions to make decisions for themselves in a positive and proper manner that's going to benefit not only themselves, their family, but the community as well, and the whole earth as well. So one love to everybody. Let's keep that love pushing forward and keep it moving. Thank you.
Average age was 19. I knew members that were 15, and we just saw a need and filled it in our community. So the very same people that we see sleeping on streets today were people who own houses on the very street that they live, that they're sleeping on right now. So we're not, the kids then, I mean the Black Panther Party members then, were not unlike these warriors that are out there today.
What we were able to do with the Dreamkeeper initiative is really carve out a specific amount of dollars that we know will be going to the Black community consistently every year to the tune of $60 million. And people think that that is a lot of money, but if you look at the data, if you look at the outcomes, if you look at all the negative effects for Black people over decades here in San Francisco and of course over centuries in this country, you will understand that $60 million is a drop in the bucket.
That's right. That's right.
And when we talk about reparations and we talk about what's owed to the Black community and we start having recommendations and things that we put in place, like a $5 million allotment, like free education, like money for home ownership, like making sure that people who are over criminalized have an opportunity at life, because in some cases they were criminalized for things that we allow everybody to do today. Then the problems start occurring, right? And I know the question was about carrying the legacy of what our Black Panther Party did, but also I have to talk about where we are today and what's happening right now in San Francisco. We have people who have a misconception and think that because they weren't someone who enslaved someone personally, that the fact that they benefit from the transfer of wealth, the transfer of property, having wealth passed down to them, that they're not a part of the problem and the issue. We have people who say that we are racist because we're fighting to make sure that we can do everything we can to have an opportunity for Black people to be successful. So I just say, in my role, obviously I have to listen to my community and try to come up with legislation, strategies, and solutions that are going to be beneficial to them. But like Alicia stated earlier, it gets easier to want to say no because it's a lot of BS out there, right? And the sickest part and the craziest part for me in this work is most of the friction that we get. I could care less about what these other folks say, right? That I expect it. But most of the friction we get is from our own people, not understanding that we all play a role in this struggle and in this fight. It's okay to be the one who focuses on this area. It's okay to be the one that focuses on this area. And how do we bring all that strength together?
Right, the whole thing, not all of technology is decentralized because we understand tech companies have a lot of power and wealth that they're hoarding to themselves. But there are a lot of tools at our hands that we can quickly look up with a Google search that have decentralized technology and that can move movements much faster. And we've seen that, right? I think when I think about Black Lives Matter, I mean, it blew up out of nowhere. Not out of nowhere, you were doing work, but you know what I mean? Like overnight, it seemed like. And stuff like that wasn't necessarily possible. The Black Panther Party didn't blow up overnight, right? Their biggest events is they escorted Betty Shabazz, after Malcolm was killed at San Francisco airport and protected her. There was a case in North Richmond where Denzel Dow, a young black man, was killed, and when nobody else would come out, they went out and protected the community. When they marched to the Capitol, state capitol of Sacramento with guns to protest gun regulation, right? There were these big events they had to do to become one of the most popular organizations of the 20th century. But nowadays, you know, with influencers around, with Instagram and TikTok and all this, there's ways to make movements popular and ground them in some really good work and to spread that information fast. So, you know, it's all about the speed of things. But I also never want to overstate what Instagram or social media can do because it can be very superficial. And so I say use it to spread information fast, right? You don't have to print a newspaper. Use it to spread information fast, to get the word out, but never forget about having foot soldiers on the ground doing the actual work, right? It is a tool, not the end all be all.
Liberation, is it available? Can we harness it? Can we achieve this? And what will it take for us to ultimately get there? Yes, it's possible. It's attainable. It's a marathon and not a sprint. It requires all of the things that folks have talked about, right? Honest conversations about how wealth was designed and developed in this country. It requires us to have a strategy and to be able to change our minds. It requires us to have people in leadership that have been intentionally kept away from helping make decisions about how we go forward. And it also requires, honestly, a real grappling with the trauma of Black life. The fact that every single day we have to remind ourselves that we matter, that we have rights, that we deserve, it takes a toll on us. And I don't think we talk about that enough. And we certainly don't have enough of the tools to engage that. I'll just say really quickly that one of the things I was just sitting here thinking about is the evolution of this movement of Black Lives Matter. And one of the most challenging things in this time is not just misinformation and disinformation. That's challenging. It's also typical. But it is that most of us are moved to act because something wrong has happened. And so we are acting, but we are not resolving the impact of the wrong. And the wrong continues, so we have to continue, but there's not tools. We're not equipped with the tools to really support people who have been traumatized and terrorized and wounded. Yes. And so we take that out on each other. And it keeps us from being able to work effectively together. It's not because there's something inherently wrong with us. It breaks my heart to hear that Black people are saying we don't need reparations. That kills me in my soul. And, right, that's intentional. It's intentional. If Black people say we don't need it, well then, Black people say we don't need it. Why are we doing this? You understand where I'm coming from? To be a part of how we keep our communities whole, intact, and engaged, but also connected and embodied.
April Ryan.
The cyclical nature of this moment. The cyclical nature of this moment. And I'm going to talk for a little bit before I sit down and we have a conversation. Thank you so much for inviting me back. This is one of the best moments in San Fran, right? It's good to be away from the White House, right? I got time off. Just to come to be with you. But I'm going to give you a little bit. Thank you. Thank you for thinking of me. Thank you for putting your hands out to the TV. When I was in trouble. If it weren't for you supporting me, I don't think I would be here. I mean, really be here. Because y'all called it out. And you saved my life. And my children's lives. I'm serious. But this moment that we're in, it makes you kind of want to cry.
Yeah.
And I think about Tuesday night. How many of you stayed up and watched the State of the Union address? For those of you who didn't, shame on you. It's on YouTube, go back and watch. The reason why I say how many of you watched it, because I happen to be blessed to be part of a group, 11 people, influencers, media influencers, who had the honor to have lunch with the President of the United States before the address. He said he was in a good space. I can't tell you what he said. I can't tell you what we did. But I am going to share a little bit with you, because it put the exclamation mark on this moment and gave me a little bit more understanding of this moment. Because I keep saying, why are we here? So many people fought, bled, and died for this moment, for freedom, for first-class citizenship, and where are we now? Hate is on the rise. Sarah Huckabee Sanders talking all this contradiction after the president. Now, how many of you watched that part? Ooh, child, it was hard. It was hard. I sat in that audience during the briefing, listening to those lies every day. And then she lying again after the president. And she's governor of Arkansas. And could possibly be the running mate of Donald Trump. Can you imagine? For real, we are in a moment. And at that, going back to the lunch, this current president, the 46th president of the United States, said every 2 to 5 generations, we go backwards. Right? Right. I wrote that down. Every 2 to 5 generations. Now look what Frederica and the Black Panther Party did. Look what Dr. King, who would have been 94 this year, look what he did. When was that? 1950s, 60s. This is 2023.
Help us. Help us, Jesus.
I'm a journalist in rarefied air. In one of the most exclusive places and a perch to watch America. 150 feet away from the President of the United States. It took all of y'all, Black Panther Party, Dr. King, Malcolm, all of them, to get a little girl from Baltimore like me to raise my hand for 26 years to ask questions of a United States president, and for them to call me by name. At least 4 called me by my name. And that's the truth. You saw it. Sit down. Can you get the Black Caucus together for me for a meeting? I'm just a journalist. For whatever reason, you didn't want to answer my questions you were afraid of, because I ask questions about a community that still has the highest numbers of negatives in every category in this moment.
Tell it.
A community that is losing its rights.
Yes.
First-class citizenship is still elusive. I am not an activist. I'm telling you, from the unique perch that I sit, voting rights, the full protections thereof, are gone. Gone. Gone.
Come on, tell it.
We're voting in places and spaces where there's suppression.
Yeah.
I can't give my grandmother a crack if her sugar is off. Or we'll go to jail while she's standing in line for 2 hours in a poll where they pulled some of the machines and ballots away. It almost sounds like if we put a sepia tone picture together, it almost sounds like decades ago yesterday.
Yeah.
Those are the questions I ask about. Being Black in America is tough. We are still dealing with something we dealt with from the inception of our time here in this nation. Enslaved Africans in America were patrolled by what? sheriffs and police. Enslaved Africans were patrolled. We heard the story of Kunta Kinte. We watched Roots. So don't act like you don't know. If you don't know, you better go ask somebody. Go Google it. No, I'm serious. And people are like, it's just started happening. Oh my God. Trayvon Martin. No, that wasn't policing. That was a vigilante. Let's try it. Aubrey was lynched as well. That was vigilanteism. In the back of a truck. Young black man had a dream. Young black man had a dream. That word dream. That word dream. We all dream, right? But that young black man wanted better. He believed in what everybody said decades ago. Had a dream that we still dream today. He had a dream of a nice home. Everybody sees construction along the way, right? Everybody does. He was jogging along on the street. And they don't tell you about this because they wanted to make sure that it didn't kind of change the dynamic of what could happen in that trial. Because along that street, there were Trump signs all along that street. And they didn't tell you about that, right? He's jogging away for his dream, sees this house. Wow. Beautiful construction. I like driving through neighborhoods where they told my parents years ago, you can't live in it. Redlining that came out of Baltimore, the city that I was born in. So I like to dream too. But unfortunately, you know, everybody on that street with the Trump signs said, oh my gosh, we got this guy in this neighborhood. Who is he? Why? Well, everybody else white was going in there too. Right. But the young black man had a dream but better. He wanted to live the American dream. Was gunned down like an animal with a shotgun. Bullets went through him. Through him, not in him, but through. He had no chance. They hunted him down like an animal. And then, in a trial, what are they going to do? This is America, right? Yes. America we still love in spite of. We are patriotic because we want to see her better. We talk about her because we want to see better, right? Right. We march in the streets because, and I say we collectively, I scribe what you're doing, but we march in the streets because we want better. We want what Dr. King dreamed of, first-class citizenship, what the Black Panther Party said, first-class citizenship, health, food for our children, fighting against sickle cell, and so many others. The plan that they had is being enacted now, and they don't get the credit for it, right, Frederica? Let's talk about that part. The clinics that they're funding now in our community, Black Panther Party. Hello? And I gotta give it up for my sisters. Frederica told me for my book, she's in my book, yes, she's a friend. You know, the visual was black men in these black outfits, those black tans looking all fly and fierce, right? Intimidating to some, but fly to others, right? You married one of them, maybe. I like to smile, I like to joke. But anyway, but guess what? The power of that party with the face that happened to be men, black men, 70% women, who cared, who loved a community. Anyway, going back to this trial. He dreamt for better. Black Panthers dreamt for better. Dr. King dreamt for better. Killed. King killed. X killed. Ahmaud Arbery had a dream he was killed. And in that trial, see how it all comes together? In that trial, he couldn't dream. He couldn't be a dreamer wanting better. He happened to be a man that had dirt in his nails, toenails. And they wanted to get Jesse Jackson out of the room.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't Jesse Jackson, it was Al Sharpton. We all know that, but anyway. Today in 2023, as I write, as I dare to dream and write for better, and write about a community that's underserved. You know, the White House and the Capitol were built by our ancestors.
Right.
Last year, there was a huge call to study reparations. They've been doing studies for a long time, all right? In the late grade, Congressman John Conyers was talking about reparations, but now they were trying to study it. This year, the House is flipped, okay? They ain't studying nothing. They're not even talking about it. So when we talk about erasing that, I believe that is a part of it because they were pushing, certain communities in the Black community were pushing for reparations. What does it look like? Some of it could look like, hey, that 40 acres that they were talking about. What does 40 acres from hundreds of years ago equate to in 2023?
Beverly Hills, I'll take that.
They have given reparations to Japanese Americans, correct?
Yes.
And that was after us,
Yes.
way after us. What does it look like? The fear is to have to deal with that.
Yes.
And so that's one of the reasons why there is an erasure. It's guilt and oh my God, oh I didn't do it. No, but the system did it.
That's right.
The system, they supported a system that did it. And there are farmers begging for their money that they were told that they were going to get for almost 20 years.
Wow.
I see now in 2023, Black farmers were supposed to get money, but the Republicans got very upset saying it's reparations, and now the money is for distressed farmers, not Black farmers, right? You pay attention to these dynamics and differences. You see the disparity. What motivates me as a Black person to understand what it's like to be Black in America, and then see when they're talking about the disparities in sentencing for crack cocaine versus powder cocaine, who uses crack and who uses powder? During Clinton's time, it was 100-1. The sentencing was for powder cocaine was for crack cocaine, you would be sentenced 100 times harsher than you would be for powder. Crack was always whack for white folks who were sentencing, like the late Whitney Houston would say. And then looking at housing, the rise of Black folks owning homes, even in San Francisco, and then how they preyed upon us and the downfall. We're back at it at the numbers when they put in the law to help us gain. That's what motivates me to ask questions, and when I hear people say, oh my God, thank you for asking those questions, it meant something to me. Again, everything comes to that White House, from water, peace, and everything in between. And unfortunately, the mainstream media only asks questions about Black America when there's a crescendo moment. We hurting every day. Our crescendo moment is every moment. So I think that's what motivates me. Thank you.
I'm Terrell Henderson. I'm the Director for Community Development and Leadership with Success Centers. We have a Dream Keepers grant for a Leadership Academy that we run through the initiative. Today is an outstanding event for all the stakeholders, the Human Rights Commission, the Dream Keepers Initiative and staff, and the programs all together to come together collectively for today in fellowship in this same space, dreaming forward as we go into the next cycle and years of funding and try to figure out where we're going, where we headed from here. But this is a great event today. It's a great event for us to come together and fellowship and cultivate a sense of social relationships, networking, a lot of good networking going on today, and seeing a lot of people that's doing some great work in the community.
Hi, I'm Nicole Elmore with the San Francisco Human Rights Commission. I'm the Pathway and Pipeline Coordinator. And today I had the honor of moderating the Black Movement panel, Bridging the Gap Between Past, Present, and Future Efforts Toward Black Liberation. And I think the biggest takeaway for today will be us charging forward in our efforts, and us as a community and Native San Franciscans moving our efforts to actual, tangible
action to really move toward Black liberation and understanding what true liberation looks like for us Black San Franciscans.
Pistol down, don't point at nobody, right? The first one is epistemology. Epistemology. Got it? Now put your hand out and act like this is an axiology. Axiology. Okay, now we gonna jump, okay? Ready? Ontology. Y'all got it. And cosmology. Cosmology. Y'all got it. So the four components of a worldview are what? What's the first one? Epistemology. Axiology. Ontology. And cosmology. Y'all got it. So everybody has a worldview, right? And so the African worldview, ours is different, right? So I need you to like Wakanda up right now, okay? What's up, right? Okay, everybody, my brother, you know I'm one of them old, you know, right here. You know them old black people looking who ain't doing it? Okay. All right, so now we go. Not one, but two worlds. Let's do it again. Not one, but two worlds. The visible and the invisible. Now watch this, y'all. This is us. Each person is connected. That's what I'm talking about, right? Listen. So from the beginning, we can remember? From the beginning. So not one, but two worlds. The visible and the invisible. Each person is connected. What we connected to a single energy source. Move that, come on, energy. Come on. We got energy. So black people, we energy beings, y'all. Come on. White people are too, they just forgot.
It's an incredible, I think, space to be in, to be able to learn from your mistakes and improve on things to grow and support each other. So I just want to thank everyone. The impact is being felt every day. We hear it, we see it, and you all are a part of that.
Everything that I went through, it all comes out for the good. Trust me. The good thing is that I took it and I used it and created a job out of it. And then I started helping other people create jobs out of their lives. So that was my original plan. So it always kept me conscious, you know. So even though y'all know my hood, I have a hood brand. So I'm grateful for that. But, you know, I think hood is good too when you do the right things with it and you take it somewhere and you can reach back and see the same situations and transform people, you know, in the spaces that is more helpful and supportive to them.
If I can make this concise. So earlier I talked about access. One of the major things that we've been able to do at the Bayview Opera House with the Dreamkeeper Initiative is to start actually providing more access to information. So in your cute little red bag, there's a flyer and it says professional development opportunities from BVOH. So those are the things that we're actually working on, our tools of the trade, transformative creative entrepreneurship cohort, which is going to be teaching Black artists and artists of color in San Francisco how to write for grants.
My name is Miles Rivers. I'm the executive director of the Walmart Cultural Participation Project in San Francisco District 11. Dreamkeeper has been transformative. It's brought Black joy, Black affirmation, Black unity, Black legacy to the lake before my community in San Francisco. And we're so proud to be a part of this project and use the available resources to elevate our community. Thank you so much.
I'm Rico Hamilton. That's RICO-HAMILTON. Here in San Francisco, we have the Dreamkeeper Initiative, one of the greatest initiatives in the world. In my opinion, I think that it should be a national model on how we support Black people. The Dreamkeeper here in San Francisco, we've been able to create equitable pipelines for our African American community and putting youth in pathways to employment, pathways into arts, pathways into education, pathways into mental health. And those are some of the most amazing things when you create equity, diversity, and inclusion. Is really including people is by creating equity and pipelines. Those pipelines to me, and that's what I really like to talk about, is pipelines and what they look like and how they support our people. So the funds is getting out there. People are able to do the services that they do without any problems and any trouble. So that's what I think about Dream Keeper. I think that the Dream Keeper is capturing the actual dreams of our people and helping them to move forward and uplifting them in a positive direction.
So it's easy for us to sit and point and talk about like who didn't show up for this and who didn't do that and who didn't know my name and who didn't call me out. But the truth of the matter is that right now today, when this is over, is when the work starts. Right. And so the question is, what you gonna do? What are you going to do to advance the work? It is not beneficial to be upset that this person got $5, you got $2, and they got 10. Because if we want to advance this work, I want to make sure that next time your 10 or your 3 is 1,000 or 10,000 or 20,000, but we can't get there if you go back and complain because somebody else got something and you didn't. So part of this is, and this is the challenge, and this is what I've said to Dr. Sy and to other folks, is that this work has to live beyond any of us. And if the work is only effective because the mayor is London Breed and Shaman Walton is on the board of supervisors and I'm in this position, then we have all failed. Yeah. If any one thing in that equation changes and the money goes away, then we have all failed. So part of this is, what does it look like on, I give Ace Washington a hard time. He just is now officially able to speak to me now, so we all good, right? But I will say this about Ace. You say what you want to, Ace is on the case.
Yeah,
Ace
ambassador.
is on the case. So even when you don't want him in your face.
See at the corridor.
That challenge, the keeping record, the making sure that we don't lose sight of history, that's what we have to do. So we could hold another panel and we could talk more, but I really do want to understand and get an understanding about how do we make sure, right? I see Daniel Landry here. Daniel is pushing for the policy. He's doing all of this stuff. A lot of what Daniel wants to do is actually embedded in the bodies and the people and the minds in this space. If we're going to change policies, if we're going to advance and make sure that what Eric Shaw has done with the Mayor's Office of Housing and Community Development to provide down payment assistance for Black folks, and if the next level of that is that it's not a loan but a grant, it's going to take you all to show up at the Board of Supervisors to say, yes, this is what we want, because otherwise it's going to go away.
Yeah. Share a few words regarding Dreamkeeper, but I want to really acknowledge Cheryl Davis and Dr. Sy for really being unapologetic about the need to focus on what's necessary to change what's happening in San Francisco, specifically for Black people. Period. There's so many thoughts going on in my mind. But this is a part of my dream too. And I just delivered my State of the City address earlier today. And I was just thinking about my grandmother, which you all hear all the stories. And I tell you those stories about my grandmother because many of you probably have very similar stories of getting whoopings, getting disciplined, but also learning about kind of the do's and don'ts of what you need to do to survive as a Black person in San Francisco and in America. And in a lot of ways, especially growing up in poverty, I was always, I love my community and we had a good time here and there, but then tragedy was all too common. And I thought, why is this so normalized in our community? Why is violence of all forms so normalized? Why is poverty so normalized? Why does, I was embarrassed when I had to go to the store with food stamps, but everybody had food stamps, right? I mean, it's EBT cards, but we remember food stamps. And when I think about all of that, and I think about how incredibly resilient and talented and creative, we had icy houses and people sold their food out of their houses, and I ran around with, Mama Faye would give me $1 to go to the store. Like we had this whole thing going on, and I thought to myself, why is it so concentrated, and where is the hope? And when I started getting more actively engaged and became the director of the African American Art and Culture Complex, I really fought to try and invest in our young people and to help turn people's lives around. I feel really proud of the work we did. I still engage with some of the young folks who still drive me nuts, but I love them, and I'm so happy to see some of them doing well in life. And I thought, what if instead of someone ended up on the corner selling crack, what if they had an opportunity to open their own business or explore what their God-given talents are? Like, what if we can change the future of Black San Francisco by making sure that at least when all the challenges exist, that money is not the barrier. This is why I started becoming very active in politics, because I saw where the decisions were being made, I saw where the investments were being made, and I saw a lot of the rhetoric, a lot of the talk about, and I don't want anyone to take offense to this, but every time Black people were out fighting for things, then when some battle is won, Black people would not be the beneficiaries of it. And we always talk about the statistics. You all we live in the statistics of the top 4 of the top 5. We're the top 4 of the leading causes of death in San Francisco, and homelessness is about 40% of the people are African American. And when you look at the businesses and the schools and the education and all of these things, and thought to myself, we're such a small population, why are we overrepresented in all of those categories? And then why do we always talk about it or use it to push for change, and that change never happens? I was frustrated by that, and I decided to do something different. And different to me means calling it out and not being afraid to say Black people. Black people, black. Because at the end of the day, when we look at the data, even if we just focus a lot of time, attention, resources, policies into this community, do you know what a difference that'll make in our city? I know I've not always been there for all your ribbon cuttings or the folks who've been able to get keys or your mini grants or the things that you all are doing out there, but I hear about all of it. I hear about all of it. And that's what brings me joy. Ice cream brings me joy, but that's what brings me joy. Because I know that it's working. What's also interesting, and I'm sure some of you are experiencing this city and how it works, it honestly, in some cases, is designed to catch you doing something wrong. And when we're seeing, because we're having an honest conversation today, I know I'm supposed to be here to inspire, and I will a little bit later, but when we're getting these record requests about Dreamkeeper initiative, when we see your elected leaders being, talked about in very negative ways in the press, all of this is happening right in the heart. Everybody's celebrating Black History Month. Everything's on sale, Black History Month. But we see, this, what Cheryl was just talking about, this very quiet force underneath the surface, building a case against Black people in San Francisco, trying to expose the Dreamkeeper initiative, wondering what's going on and why is all this money going to all these Black people and are they spending it properly? Do they know how to manage it? Do they know what they're doing? Why is he getting this and what's going on with that? So I want you all to understand, you all have a role to play too.
That's right.
Because all of this behind the scenes fighting, drama, craziness, that's happening right now because we are investing in Black people in this city. And I'm going to keep fighting for it. I'm not going to let anything stop me from doing it. Because I was in that position once where I wish someone would have fought for us.
That's right.
I'm not going to do this job in fear of losing it. The reason why I do this job is because I'm afraid with what might happen to future generations of Black people growing up like I did. You all know my brother's still incarcerated, and they come for me because I fight for my brother. My sister died from a drug overdose, and it's like I don't care about people dying from drug overdose, and I don't know what that feels like. Wow. I'm not going to stop fighting for this stuff. Because this stuff is a part of what makes our community our community. And so you all have to fight for it too. Part of the fight is that when you are supported in your work and you are blessed in your work, be a blessing to someone else.
That's right, dude.
Be a blessing to someone else. I remember back in the days when it was easier to get housing in San Francisco. My grandmother talking about stories, she'd be on the phone, call Jim Williams. Jim Williams down the Housing Authority. Some of you guys remember this. I remember that name, Jim Williams. Yeah. Call him. It doesn't work that way anymore. It's become a lot more complicated, a lot more challenging. It's why it's so important that we don't just become complacent because we're able to open our business, we're able to own our homes, we're able to have a good job and take care of our families. We can't be complacent. We don't have to like one another, but we need to love one another. Right. Especially if we're going to make it through. Because this is why I came to do this work. I came to do this work because I want to see my community thrive. Right. I want to see the people in my community become what our God-given talents are to become. Because I know many people look, they're like, oh, London, she's the mayor, but it's lonely. It's lonely. I'm in there fighting those fights, and most people don't understand half the time what I'm talking about.
Right.
And why it's important. Why is it important to get rid of city bureaucracy to allow for organizations? Well, competitive bid, and they got the lowest bid. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. This company here is hiring people who live in the city and the neighborhoods that are impacted by the decisions that we're making. So I have to get down in the nitty-gritty on a regular basis about so many of these things that exist.
Thank you.
And so I came here today because I'm excited about the future. I'm excited about the future. And there is no future, no diverse city, no city that can brag about our creativity and our culture and all of that without all of you. Yeah. You represent that in whatever form you participate. Dreamkeeper is really about trying to make some dreams come true. It's trying to change the outcomes of African Americans in San Francisco and being very deliberate about the decisions we make because it's overdue. We've been dealing with Ace on the case, talking about the unfinished agenda forever. Well, we're trying to finish the agenda.
That's right.
Ace on the case. We're trying to do something that has never been before. And it can be scary. It's unfamiliar territory. But I know we can do it.
That's right.
Because I know so many of you are so creative, talented, fun, interesting, ambitious, driven, all these wonderful adjectives that describe what make up the people in the Black community of San Francisco. So, Dreamkeeper is really about everything you're here to do. For yourself, for your lives, for your families, for your community. And we can't take any of it for granted. We have to continue to fight for it. So when one person gets a grant, celebrate that person. When another person gets a house, celebrate that person. When my cousin comes home and we able to get him a job with the city, amen. That's what this is about. That is why we commit the resources to do it. Not just the policies, but the money. Because it's what we need and what we deserve. So for so many years, again, the city talks about redevelopment, the people who have certificate of preference. Folks didn't even use those certificates of preferences. I mean, don't get me started. I've been trying to change these laws for years, and it hasn't been working until we came up with Dreamkeeper or neighborhood preference or things that actually help this community directly. So they want to get creative with the rules of what to stop us from doing. I'm getting creative with the rules of what to allow us to do. The door. Our time is now. If not now, then when are we going to get what it is that we deserve in the city? I want to see you all out in the communities. I want to see everyone doing well.
That's right.
I want to see this city have a thriving African American population again. I want to see your kids, the next generations of young people growing up this city, running the tech companies, starting their own businesses, running the convention center, running the city. Because I know who we are. And it's time to remind people of that. We know who we are. So we celebrate the accomplishments, and I'm so glad that Cheryl continues to do this. That we come together because we need to put it in perspective. I know people are busy with their lives, and I know it's hard. I know your kids, and some of you are driving you crazy, and I know that's hard. But sometimes you do have to take a moment to pause and to reflect on what we've been able to accomplish. No, it's not done. No, we are not finished. We're just getting started. We're just getting started. So I hope that so many of you, especially those who have been the beneficiary of Dreamkeeper, that you're able to take this as an opportunity, yes, to succeed, to do well in life, to take care of you and your families, but I hope you use it as a community to do something else for someone else. Because that's how we turn things around for our community. It's going to take all of us. No, I can't be there for everything. But I want you all to know that I'm fighting these battles every day. I believe in us, I believe in this community, and I believe in what this program represents. And we're going to continue to make it happen. You know, it's interesting because, again, I think back to my childhood, and I never could have imagined this for myself. I couldn't imagine this for myself. But my grandmother, she was a strict disciplinarian. Like I said, whoopings. Whoopings work, but I don't think you could do that.
Inspiration.
The mayor got beat. No, but I think back to my community. And I talk about Miss Coleman, Mama Faye, like all these people in the community, they raised me. Like when they saw me doing something wrong, I got in trouble. I didn't like it, but I got in trouble. And I knew somebody cared. I didn't appreciate it when I was a kid, but as I started to get older, because they took care of me, I felt I had to do the same. I had to take care. Like if Mama Faye and Miss Coleman and all these people, Miss Johnson, they were taking care of me and investing time with me. Miss Booker at the church, oh, she was mean. But Miss Booker at the church at First Union and all these people, if they were taking this kind of time with me, as I got older, I realized I owe it to them. Because life could have been way different for me. I could have been in a whole nother situation. But I'm in a position to help push for change. So I feel that weight, that responsibility. And the more people that are able to benefit from programs like Dreamkeeper and what you all are doing, then that means I'm doing my job. So thank you all so much for what you're doing. Thank you for being here. And keep it up. Keep fighting. Keep working hard. And the last thing I'm going to say, because it's really enough negativity out in the world. Let's start putting some positive energy out in the world. Let's celebrate our accomplishments. Celebrate your businesses. Celebrate your successes. And you know what? Get rid of those negative people around you. Because there's no room for that in what we need to be able to do. We need to focus on the future. And you all have a role to play. The time is now. I want to get this done so this can be an extraordinary part of my legacy when I'm no longer here.
We in that London breed era, y'all. All these beautiful black people out here. Black History Month. Feeling good, looking good, being good. So make some noise. Exactly. So we're going to try this. There we go. We're going to try this one more time. If y'all ready to smile and have a good time in our city, let me get a yeah. That's good enough for y'all? And we still that's good. And we Flood winning. You feel me, right? I can tell you something, man. Don't be so quiet.
I'm shy.
We ready when you ready.
I'm shy.
Make sure you tip y'all DJs.
Let's get
Turn that
it.
up,
San
turn that
Francisco,
up.
we
Hey,
here.
when we do this song, I need y'all to do me a favor. I need you to take the left corner of your mouth, then the other corner of your mouth. I need you to make it touch the outside of your eye. Hey. If you don't know what that looks like, make sure you go like this. Make sure you go like this.
Oh, hey, go Stunner, man, go Stunner, go.
Come on.
Family, my sisters and all my brothers. We do this for our people, but we ain't seeing no colors. We do this for the unity. Community. Try to vision bigger than just your. I'm a vision too. Hey, for me.
Come on, y'all. We need y'all smile.
For me. Hey, I love you. Smile for me.
It's really the community.
When you smile. Hey,
Oh, yeah. Hey, remember this. Hey, we too intelligent for all this foolery.
Hey.
Gotta move better. I can't take another you.
Hey.
Baby, how you love me, but really you be using me. Come on, man.
bigger than just you. I'm gonna need you to smile. Hey, for me. Sing it with me. Hey, love it when you smile. Hey, smile for me. Hey, we say smile for me. Okay, come on in the back. Why y'all ain't smiling? See that? Yeah, there we go. Hey, it's no community without the unity. All the hate ain't gonna work. We got immunity. I know I'm blessed. That's why the devil keep pursuing me. We gotta make it better for the future. You and me. Usually, you will see how it all play out. You ain't gotta take. You can create your way out. They say it ain't safe for kids to play out. I need you to smile even if it look gray out. Cause what stays down must come up. We separated like a curse on us. I told God we need a blessing for the rush on us. We all mad and gotta gain some trust. Cause in the end, it was just we say smile for me. I need y'all to sing it with me. Love it when you smile. Everybody smile for me. You gonna say it with me? The words to it. For me. I say love it when you smile. Hey, for me. We ain't done. Everybody, come on. Smile for me. Put your hands up. Love it when you smile. Hands up. Hey, for me. Who we at? We say smile for me. Hey, Wally G. Hey, love it when you smile. Sugar T for me. Come on, man. Y'all make some noise for Sugar T. She was singing with us. You got a legend with us singing that, huh? We love y'all, man. Stay smiling, man. Don't never let nobody take from you. Say one thing real quick. They gotta push that. Come on. How you not gonna play that?
Everybody for getting here safely, looking so beautiful, and reminding us, even though it is Black History Month is every day. Thank you for blessing everybody mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, morally, and financially. Mentally first, because the mind rules all, and financially last, because if we get the money, we ain't gonna want to do all the other work. Most importantly, let's make sure we live here for the people that moved on. So all our ancestors, our guardian angels that put a battery in our back so we don't lack, enjoy being black and melanated, and so we go attack, let's live every day for them. And most importantly, with that said, we'll say a woman, a man, and we still win!